Guys, gals, everything in between. How y'all doing? Tuesday night, June the 2nd. Another day in June. Second day of June. How is everybody doing this wonderful evening? Hopefully everybody's staying safe, staying healthy, be it CV, be it protesting, be it rioting, be it looting. Hopefully everybody is doing okay, safe, healthy, strong. So what you got to do, stay safe. Hopefully you guys aren't experiencing any bad weather today. It is pouring here, but it sure beats, snowstorm or any kind of hail or freezing rain or anything like that where it makes it almost impossible to drive. So who's joining me tonight? Who's here? Don't be shy. Say hello. Don't be shy. Give it a try. Should be on for about an hour or so tonight. And for anybody that's asking, it's called sarcasm. Once again, the title. Hello, Kai Kai. Good evening. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Yeah, so Tammy Covey, hello. Haunted Butterfly, hello. Wow, these are all new names I see here tonight. How did you guys find my channel? And welcome. I see that you are new, so don't forget to subscribe. Join the Mavakaga family. You'll find nothing but peace and love here. Everybody's cool with each other. If you want to talk about whatever you want, just let me know and we can definitely discuss it. Yeah, glad you found me and welcome. So as I always ask, how did you find me? A lot of people found me from back in the CV19 days when I first made the videos back in January. But yeah, you'll notice on some videos on my channel, there are some sarcastic videos I make. Not all of them are real. You see, Haunted Butterfly said, did they really spell love with the burning houses? It's a play on words, shall we say. I'll read you what that's all about, and then you tell me if you think it's true or not, okay? It says here, in a powerful display of their care for, sarcasm is a big thing here. In a powerful display of their care for love and justice, protesters in Minneapolis burned the word love into the city, arranging the inspiring message with homes and businesses set ablaze by their riots. We just really wanted to show how much we care about love and social justice by burning this community into a powerful reminder of what it's all about, said local protester Jake Hernandez, who had flown in from Portland for the event. Not true. Now, when police and fire helicopters fly over to try to restore order, they'll be inspired by our message of love and harmony. Not my way of saying peace and love, but, you know. Upon seeing the heart-wrenching message of unity, police dropped their batons, ripped off their badges, donned bandanas, picked up bricks, and joined the protesters in their rioting and looting. Sounds like Antifa. I don't know how I didn't see the light before, said former police officer, now Antifa chapter leader Bridget Morrison, as she lobbed a Molotov cocktail into a minority-owned business. I'm woke to the cause of love and harmony. What a powerful message. The protesters were also planning to burn the word social justice into predominantly black parts of town, but have sadly run out of buildings to burn. So yeah, just sarcasm, folks. Don't take it literally. I remember when I did the Biden video, he cut a hole, like for his mask, he cut a hole where his nose is so he can sniff people. A lot of people enjoyed that. I got many people who were like, hey man, that's not a real photo, that's photoshopped. Blah, blah, blah. You can tell by like the curve on the ear where the mask is supposed to be put on straight. It's not put on straight. This is fake. Gee, you think? Again, if you can't understand that kind of sarcasm, maybe you just won't get Mavakaga, you know. But there are so many good ones. I'll read you a couple more where it's like it seems like so ridiculous, but at the same time so funny. I'll just read you a couple of headlines. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Um, Eddie Krauser, good evening. The Antifa cries oppression as he strikes you. Some German asshat, probably, among others. They're all over the place. This was a good headline. CNN draws largest crowd in years because of the rioters. Get it? That was so funny. Clever churchgoers avoid arrest by disguising themselves as rioters. I should make these into videos tomorrow. A lot of people did, like I said, a lot of people did enjoy them. Louisiana swamp. This is not photoshopped. You talking about the fires? It's 100% not real. I should have like made a caption like beside it or something saying just kidding. But if you've been here long enough, you would know. Just kidding. Governor Cuomo orders nursing homes to admit rioters. Trump shows off completed Awana vest. Okay, let me read a. Here's our guide to being prepared for rioting. Be safe. Here's our guide on being prepared for safe and profitable rioting. Please read. Number 1, look out for sweet loot. We got purses, we got cell phones, we got cheesecakes, shoes, Legos. Number 2, follow other rioters into stores. If you just run into a store by yourself, you might get shot. Number 3, have a buddy. Those new 4K TVs are freaking heavy, man. Number 4, stay safe, but also throw bricks at police. Wackiness, pure wackiness. Louisiana swamp, love thing. Oh, yeah, like don't get mad and say, oh, it's like clickbait or something. It's called sarcasm. That's all it is. It's not clickbait actually. If you get the jokes, you'll know that it's definitely not clickbait. Clickbait is when you make a thumbnail of something, and then once you go in to watch the video, it has nothing to do with what the actual thumbnail shows. So it has everything to do with the thumbnail, what I read you. From back in May 28th, Trump announces he's leaving Twitter for MySpace. Oh my God, you guys remember MySpace? That's so like, was it 2005 or something? I don't even remember. Too funny. Time names Karen Person of the Year. We all know who Karen is. Trump says, I have done more for Christianity than Jesus. Miracle. Coronavirus passes over houses with Chick-fil-A sauce smeared on doorposts. Okay, that's enough of that. Let me read you some other headlines, and you guys tell me if you think true or not true. Okay? Let me find you some good ones. And then I knew you got it, Louisiana. That's why you're still here. Did anybody else hear about, was it one of Obama's kids is also in Antifa? And de Blasio's daughter got arrested, I think yesterday or the day before. What a mess. Okay, so we'll start from. Oh my gosh, did the Simpsons predict George Floyd's death? I made a video about did the Simpsons predict coronavirus or something like that. Got so many views, and again, so many people saying, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Um, Tammy, yes. You mean yes, you got the joke? So yeah, so the headline was, did the Simpsons, again the Simpsons, did the Simpsons predict George Floyd's death? Predictions are typically made prior to the event they are predicting. So apparently, this was from a Simpsons episode from a few years back. No, it's not. But it's funny just seeing this. Hang on, let me enlarge the picture. Doing it from the phone is a lot harder because I can't really show you photos in like really good quality because I have to show it from the tablet. But this one is obviously fake, but it's so easy how I could make a video about it and so many people would reply back and like give the video a thumbs down because they're like, oh, no way, man, this isn't real and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's the point. Check it out. Looks pretty good, eh? Justice for George. There you see Lisa. What's his name? Officer Wiggum? I think Wiggins or Wiggum or something like that. And there's Floyd underneath. Obviously, some guy just made this. It's on Instagram. So this one is completely false. Unbelievable picture, though. But yeah, Simpsons did predict quite a few things before this. It says here, in June 2020, a set of images started to circulate on social media, supposedly showing screen grabs from an episode of The Simpsons. The Simpsons. Why am I having so many problems saying The Simpsons tonight? In which the long-running Chief Wiggum, that's it, thank you, Kai Kai, in which the long-running animated show predicted the death of George Floyd, a black man whose death while in Minneapolis police custody sparked nationwide protests. Okay, so the image on the right showing Chief Wiggum kneeling on a black man's neck, a scene reminiscent of George Floyd's death, while Lisa Simpson stands by holding a Justice for George sign, was created by Instagram user Yuri Pomo. This image did not appear in an episode of The Simpsons, and it was posted to Pomo's Instagram account on May 30th, 5 days after Floyd's death. There is no way people can think this is real. Then again, you never know. Louisiana says, like Gene Dixon, who advised Miss Reagan. So many conspiracies and so many things that are actually true that people don't even know. Like I even said that George and Chauvin there, the guy who the police officer who was kneeling on him, they actually worked together for a very long time, one night a week at a club, which was basically across the street from where this incident happened. And apparently they knew each other very, very well. They crossed paths numerous times at work. So I think there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. A question I have for you guys, if you guys have any idea or have even noticed this, from the two videos that were posted about, the actual incident, you notice, as everybody did, the main one where you are facing the cop and George Floyd's neck and head is turning towards the camera saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. That's the one angle. Did anybody ever see the angle from across the street? There is one about 10 to 15 seconds. You can see that beside the cop, Chauvin, to his right, which would be off camera because the police car is, so Chauvin's here, police car is here, and then further away behind the police car, there were two other cops. You could not see them in the first video. If you watch the video from the other side of the street, it was another amateur who caught the video. You will see two more cops there who also did nothing. So that's why they keep saying, that they're looking for four cops, or only one got arrested and the other three are still scot-free right now. But my question is, usually when an ambulance is called, right, and paramedics arrive on the scene, even if they feel that the person has passed, do they not try to resuscitate them every single time? This was the only time ever in my life that I seen them just put a body on the stretcher, put him in the ambulance, and gone. No attempt to revive the man. Not they didn't even check for a pulse. They didn't even check to see if he was breathing. Definitely not mouth to mouth. But anything like even the pumps that they do on the chest and clear, those kind. There was nothing. There was nothing. They just rolled him over and took him away. Now there's a couple theories. There's a couple theories because, as I said, they did know each other. The main cop Chauvin and the Asian. I'm going to say Asian. I don't know if he's Vietnamese or Chinese. Tao Thao or whatever his name is. They are actually brother-in-laws. So there's that. There's the fact that George and Chauvin knew each other. There's a lot of things that aren't really being talked about. Um, One person said that either on the bus or on the bus shelter there was a note saying "Open your eyes." I'm gonna try to find that. I've looked for it. I haven't found it yet, but a reliable source did tell me that you would see the words "Open your eyes" somewhere in one of the frames of that video. So I gotta really study that and check it out. And if I do see that, I will definitely screenshot it and show you guys. But there's a lot of things that are going on that just seem a little off, if you know what I mean. Now, I'm not saying what the cop did in any way, shape, or form is okay. I'm just saying that the story seems a little bit off. There's a lot of it that we don't understand about it yet, and hopefully, eventually, one day it will come out. But um, yeah, exactly, 80 Krauser. You see, you're hearing me, and I'm hearing exactly what you're saying. It's some kind of ritual or something. It's all connected. Um, Again, the government is definitely involved. Notice how, COVID was kind of dying down. They needed something else to get into, and this is pretty big. This kind of a riot is huge. It's now what, day 8, I believe. Um, Something doesn't smell right. I mean, there are a couple people. I'm not saying me, but there are a couple people that believe he is still alive, George, and this was all an act. Because don't forget, uh, George Floyd was an actor, a porn actor. The cop guy, I don't know much about him. I know that he had prior convictions, but not to the point of like manslaughter or first degree even. So I don't know. There was one article, took another 2 years, but they might get it. I was warning that they wanted an American Bolshevik revolution. Well, did you notice that Trump said that Antifa is now a terrorist organization, which means basically if they want to go loot and throw fire or start a fire or break windows, the cops have the right to shoot them and kill them on sight and not have to worry about getting arrested or having to report to anybody about it. So that's a good thing. But the thing is, you don't know if it's Antifa or if it's just some really pissed off regular person, be it white, black, whatever. That's dangerous. That's really dangerous. So major curfews going on. 80 Krauser, do you have curfew at in Louisiana? Is there a curfew going on over there? Because I've been hearing it's basically everywhere now. 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. More and more states are coming up with that. And what's up with Trump posing in front of the church there? That was just so bizarre. The guy's not even Catholic, is he? Doubt it. I'm trying to find the one where they said that they believe he's alive, but I don't know if I'm going to find it. I think it was New York Times or New York Post or I don't remember which one it was. Let's see. There is one that says the George Floyd preliminary autopsy results. It's just loading up now. I'll read some of that and see what it says. Okay, so some comments about it were, so at 8:20, hang on, not here as far as I know. Well, not yet. Hopefully there won't be one. So at 8:25:31, the officer checked for a pulse while still kneeling on Floyd's neck. He then stated that he was unable to find a radial pulse. The officer then waited till 8:27:24 before he finally took his knee off the man's neck. Well, Melania is Catholic, but she didn't go. It was just him in front of the church. Meaning that even after the officer found no pulse, he kept his knee on the man's neck for nearly 2 minutes. Well, that solves it, folks. The officer should be cleared of all charges. He must have thought that the man died on his own and assumed he would come back to life as a zombie. So he made the heroic choice of continuing to kneel on the guy's neck to protect his fellow officers from getting their brains eaten. Another person says, nah, the cop was just taking a breather. The guy's dead. No need to get up or off. Yeah, this shit will be Eric Garner version 2. They'll say it's the medical conditions that killed him and find the heroes innocent of all crimes. Maybe we can agree to just listen to the science or nah. Okay. The autopsy revealed no physical findings that support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation. Mr. Floyd had underlying health conditions, including coronary artery disease and hypertensive heart disease. The combined effects of Mr. Floyd's being restrained by the police, his underlying health conditions, and any potential intoxicants in his system likely contributed to his death. Wife of officer charged with murder of George Floyd announces she's divorcing him. Well, it's going to be in jail anyway, so what's the difference? George Floyd's family says 4 officers involved in his death should be charged with murder. Twitter hides Trump tweet for glorifying violence. So it was. You're saying that the current me isn't saying how it is. What exactly is it that you think you know that they don't? The signs of heart attack all over this case. Shortness of breath is a huge red flag. And George Floyd was telling officers that he couldn't breathe while standing up next to the police car several minutes before he was on the ground. That's why the ambulance was called. Then he complained of pain in various areas of his body, saying his stomach hurts, everything hurts. Dude, that's a heart attack in progress. There's no evidence of any injuries to his torso, but he said they were hurting. Being thirsty is a signal too. He asked for water. The autopsy is going to reveal details that people don't want to hear. That doesn't mean that they're wrong. It means that people are so emotionally invested that anything that doesn't implicate the officers with the maximum level of culpability is going to be disregarded. That's not justice. So, I mean, dude was high as a kite on meth, but the dude on his back probably didn't help. That's for sure. It's just double pressure. The autopsy revealed no physical findings that support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation. The report is just preliminary, and it specifically said it didn't find evidence of traumatic, meaning due to injury, asphyxia, or strangulation. A blood choke wouldn't leave evidence of injuries to skin, bone, larynx, or soft tissue. Another one said, we all know it was from being black. Okay, here's the how many pages is this? Wow, this is quite lengthy. It's 6 pages long. As you can see here, I don't know if you guys can see it too clearly, but I'll read some of it for you guys. State of Minnesota, plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin. Date of birth 3/19/1976. The complainant submits this complaint to the court and states that there is probable cause to believe defendant committed the following offenses. Count 1. Charge, murder, third degree, perpetrating imminently dangerous act and evincing depraved mind. Charge description: that on or about May 25, 2020 in Hennepin County, Minnesota, Derek Michael Chauvin caused the death of George Floyd by perpetrating an act imminently dangerous to others and evincing a depraved mind with regard for human life. Count 2. Charge, manslaughter, second degree. Charge description: that on or about May 25 in Hennepin County, Minnesota, Derek Michael Chauvin caused the death of George Floyd by his culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk and taking a chance of causing death of great bodily harm to George Floyd. Statement of probable cause. Okay, again, this is a little lengthy, so bear with me, guys. I'll try to read it as quick or as slow as I can. Louisiana swamp. No, all protests around state peaceful. On May 25th, 2020, someone called 911 and reported that a man bought merchandise from Cup Foods at 3759 Chicago Avenue in Minneapolis, Hennepin County, Minnesota, with a counterfeit $20 bill. At 8:08 p.m., Minneapolis Police Department officers Thomas Lane and J.A. Quang, K-U-E-N-G, Quang, arrived with their body-worn cameras activated and running. The officers learned from store personnel that the man who passed the counterfeit $20 was parked in a car around the corner from the store on 38th Street. BWC video, which is body-worn cameras, obtained by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension shows that the officers approached the car, Lane on the driver's side and Quang, I'm going to call him Quang, on the passenger side. 3 people were in the car. George Floyd was in the driver's seat. A known adult male was in the passenger seat, and a known adult female was sitting in the back seat. As Officer Lane began speaking with Mr. Floyd, he pulled his gun out and pointed it at Mr. Floyd's open window and directed Mr. Floyd to show his hands. When Mr. Floyd put his hands in the steering wheel, Lane put his gun back in its holster. While Officer Quang was speaking with the front seat passenger, Officer Lane ordered Mr. Floyd out of the car, put his hands on Mr. Floyd, and pulled him out of the car. Officer Lane handcuffed Mr. Floyd. Mr. Floyd actively resisted being handcuffed. Once handcuffed, Mr. Floyd became compliant and walked with Officer Lane to the sidewalk and sat on the ground at Officer Lane's direction. In a conversation that lasted just under 2 minutes, Officer Lane asked Mr. Floyd for his name and identification. Officer Lane asked Mr. Lloyd if he was on anything and explained that he was arresting Mr. Lloyd for passing counterfeit currency. Officers Quang and Lane stood Mr. Floyd up and attempted to walk Mr. Floyd to their squad car, MPD 320, at 8:14 p.m. Mr. Floyd stiffened up, fell to the ground, and told the officers he was claustrophobic. MPD officers Derek Chauvin, the defendant, and Tu Thoa then arrived in a separate squad car. The officers made several attempts to get Mr. Floyd in the back seat of Squad 320 from the driver's side. Mr. Floyd did not voluntarily get in the car and struggled with the officers by intentionally falling down, saying he was not going in the car and refusing to stand still. Mr. Floyd is over 6 feet tall and weighs more than 200 pounds. While standing outside the car, Mr. Floyd began saying and repeating that he could not breathe. The defendant went to the passenger side and tried to get Mr. Floyd into the car from that side, and Lane and Quang assisted. The defendant pulled Mr. Floyd out of the passenger side of the squad car at 8:19 and 38 seconds p.m., and Mr. Floyd went to the ground face down and still handcuffed. Quang held Mr. Floyd's back and Lane held his legs. The defendant placed his left knee in the area of Mr. Floyd's head and neck. Mr. Floyd said, "I can't breathe," multiple times and repeatedly said, "Mama," and "please," as well. The defendant and the other two officers stayed in their positions. Those were the two I said that were beside Chauvin to his right, so we couldn't see him from that first camera angle facing Chauvin. The officers said, "You are talking fine," to Mr. Floyd as he continued to move back and forth. Lane asked, "Should we roll him on his side?" And the defendant said, "No, staying put where we got him." Officer Lane said, "I am worried about excited delirium or whatever." The defendant said, "That's why we have him on his stomach." None of the three officers moved from their positions. BWC video shows Mr. Floyd continue to move and breathe. At 8:24 and 24 seconds, Mr. Floyd stopped moving. At 8:25:31, the video appears to show Mr. Floyd ceasing to speak or breathe. Lane said, "Want to roll him on his side." Quang checked Mr. Floyd's right wrist for a pulse and said, "I couldn't find one." None of the officers moved from their positions. At 8:27:24, the defendant removed his knee from Mr. Floyd's neck. An ambulance and emergency medical personnel arrived. The officers placed Mr. Floyd on a gurney, and the ambulance left the scene. Mr. Floyd was pronounced dead at Hennepin County Medical Center. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner conducted Mr. Floyd's autopsy on May 26, 2020. The full report of the medical examiner is pending, but the ME has made the following preliminary findings. The autopsy revealed no physical findings that support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation. Mr. Floyd had underlying health conditions including coronary artery disease and hypertensive heart disease. The combined effects of Mr. Floyd being restrained by the police, his underlying health conditions, and any potential intoxicants in his systems likely contributed to his death. The defendant had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in total. 2 minutes and 53 seconds of this was after Mr. Floyd was non-responsive. Police are trained that this type of restraint with a subject in a prone position is inherently dangerous. Defendant is in custody. So that's the story, step by step, as to how it happened. So what happens next? Who knows? But that's exactly what happened, minute by minute, on the account of all the proof that we have. Who knows why the other three haven't been charged? They were there the whole time. You know, they were there the whole time, and they didn't do anything. They were just not helping or doing anything. You know what I mean? Corey X, what's going on, my friend? Welcome to the channel. I just finished reading of exactly what happened, minute by minute, in the death of Mr. Floyd. What say you about the whole thing? I want to hear what you guys have to say. You heard what I said. You heard my opinions. You heard the stories that they actually knew each other from back in the club, working in the club together days. Any connection there that they knew each other and maybe something went wrong between them a while back, and that's why, of all people, it was Chauvin who had his knee on his neck? Is there something about that? Louisiana Swamp says, Trump grew up in the church started by the power of positive thinking author. It explains a lot of the way he speaks. That I didn't know. 80 Krauser, most of his pastor friends are Dominists too. They think they will just take over everything and skip Revelation. They think it's allegory. Corey, if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe. And also, guys, if you haven't already, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you are new here, and I said, if you subscribe, you will join the Mavakaga family. You will see that we are all a bunch of good people here. Nothing but peace and love. Never arguing, never fighting. Corey says, wait, the cop who put his knee on George was his friend? They were co-workers. They worked in a bar together. I think it was every Tuesday night. Already subscribed, sir. Thank you very much, Corey. I appreciate that. Yeah, I haven't seen you here. How did you find the channel? But yeah, they worked at the same club. I read it in last night's stream, I think, or the night before. They worked at the same club every Tuesday night. I know that George was a bouncer of some sort, and the owner of the club said that Chauvin worked there for about 17 years, and he handled the outside part of it, made sure, I guess, the people that were coming in were okay, and handling of the finances were also done by Chauvin, I believe. So yeah, there's a lot to the story that again hasn't really been talked about on the ever so popular MSM, mainstream media. We will never hear about it on mainstream media, but that's a story for another day. I already said enough about them. Louisiana Swamp, yes, that's true. They are leaders of extremely odd churches. They have apostles, prophets. Jesus won't come back until the 7 areas of society is taken over by them. What a mess, eh? What a mess, 2020. Not getting any better. You wake up and you hear something new, something worse than the day before. Let me see if I can find that story for you, Corey, about them working together. But yeah, I read it. It was either yesterday or the day before. I'll read you a couple headlines. Yeah, the one I read was from CBS News. George Floyd and Derek Chauvin worked security at the same club and may have crossed paths, owner says. It was called El Nuevo Rodeo. Even CNN now put it up. El Nuevo Rodeo. George Floyd and Derek Chauvin worked overlapping security shifts at the same club. That's a pretty interesting fact, I would say, that they haven't mentioned. Not enough talk about it. Now it's all coming out. But I found your channel from the Hana Kimura video. Oh yeah, that's the one I posted. I think it was last week. That one, yeah, that one got about 10,000 views. That was amazing. It was her last video, unfortunately, so figured I wanted to share that with people. But yeah, thank you for joining, as I said. New York Times says how two co-workers, a fake bill, and an encounter roiled a nation. Yes, the officer and Floyd were working at the same place, off hours. Yes, correct. I don't know. I just find so many odd things. Like George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, the former police officer charged with killing Floyd, worked security at the same local club for much of the year before their fatal encounter. The owner of El Nuevo Rodeo said the two were in close proximity once a week for their Tuesday night shifts, though she did not know if they ever actually met while working at the club. But he could have been a dirty cop and maybe involved in drugs too, right? Who knows? Maya Santamaria said she had been paying Chauvin, who was off duty, to sit in his squad car outside the rodeo for 17 years. She said Floyd worked as a security guard inside the club frequently in the last year. In particular, they both worked on Tuesday nights when the club had a popular weekly dance competition. Santa Maria, the owner of the club, reflected Friday evening on how her business suddenly became central to a death that sparked anguish waves of protest, first in Minneapolis and then in cities across America. Chauvin was fired from the police department last week and charged with third-degree murder for pinning Floyd by the neck. She said Floyd was well known and liked by her patrons. He was beloved in the Latin community because he worked at another Latin club also. When she'd check in during work, she said Floyd would ask her, "How are you?" Or cheerily said, "How you doing, boss lady?" Outside the club, which burned down last week as protests against police violence flared into civil unrest, she'd meet with Chauvin after each shift. "We would wrap up at the end of the night and do a review," Santa Maria said. They'd discussed the time Chauvin was called into the club to remove a patron or dealt with someone outside the club. She said employees never complained about Chauvin, but sometimes patrons would complain about how he handled them. That's interesting. Santa Maria said Minnesota's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has contacted her to discuss Floyd's and Chauvin's employment. She has also reached out to Floyd's family, whose attorney, Benjamin Crump, said that he believes Chauvin and Floyd's El Nuevo Rodeo connection means Chauvin should face tougher charges than the third-degree murder and manslaughter counts that led to his arrest on May 29. This is going to be an interesting aspect of this case and hopefully upgrading these charges to first-degree murder. Uh, we believe he knew George Floyd was. We think that he had intent. Santa Maria said she wants her former employee punished. We have to make Derek Chauvin an example so that police around the country realize that it's not okay and they're not going to get away with it and there will be repercussions. Otherwise, it's going to continue to happen, Santa Maria said. You know, if she's the owner, she probably knows a lot more than she's letting on because if she hired both of them, she's got to know them pretty well. And I'm sure in the 17 years and the year that they've been working together, how many times they crossed paths. I mean, that's her bread and butter, right? That's her club. And these are two people that are working for her. She should know where her employees are and who they have contact with while they're working for her. Don't you think? Eddie Krauser, it's like the plot to a Coen Brothers movie. Yeah, Fargo, Part 2. Call it Minneapolis. Except without the humor. Exactly. Louisiana, yes, Eddie. Eddie Krauser, are those your cattle or just a pick you found? Pick I found. Wish I had land for animals. You guys can do a swap. Eddie Krauser seems like he has plenty of land, but his land is more for fruits and vegetables. We got land, just not cleared or fenced yet. See? Told you. Oh, by the way, for anybody that's new here, a guy last week asked me if I was drinking like whiskey. Um, I don't know about you guys, but last I heard, whiskey was like clear like water. And anyways, whatever. It's not any kind of alcohol. This is Coke. Did you guys know? It's actually Coca-Cola. Did you guys know why they had to change the name from Coke to Coca-Cola? True story, actually. This isn't sarcasm. This is actually true. Coke actually contained cocaine when it first originated. And it was like an addiction, so people would drink more of it and buy more of it, and they'd make more money. They got busted for that. They had to get rid of all the cocaine, and they also had to change the name. So they changed the name from Coke to Coca-Cola. That's the story of Coke, and the reason why it's not called Coke anymore. Drinking Coke before bed. Wow, good habit. Sarcasm. I know that sarcasm. You could have stopped right at wow, good habit. You didn't have to add the sarcasm at the end. I do know what sarcasm is, you know. You're telling me I cut the stuff down with a weed eater with blade attachment. Hey, you know what? I want to show you guys something. I know I was talking about Coke, but now I wanted to show you guys a couple of hidden messages in logos. I don't know if you guys have really noticed any of these, but this is really cool. I'm going to show you the one about Wendy's. And you guys tell me if you know of any of these hidden messages or anything. First bottling plant not owned by company was in Louisiana, I think. Ah, so that's where they stash all the Coke. In your field, my friend, A.D. Krauser. Okay, check out the logo for Wendy's, okay? do you guys notice anything about the logo? In particular on the girl? These kind of things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Did you guys notice it? I'll give you guys a few seconds to see if you can figure it out. But Amazon looks like a wiener. No, you know what it is? I know that one too. It has the arrow going from A, starts off at the A, going to the Z, meaning that they sell everything from A to Z. The arrow is going from the A to the Z. That's the Amazon one. This one, if you look at her close at her shirt, yeah, it's kind of a cross between her shirt and her necklace. You'll see the word mom. There's an M, and then her necklace is the O, and on the other side is another M. You see it now? It says mom. Do you see it? M on one side, O in the middle there, her necklace, M on the other side, mom. So that was a cool one. I'll show you guys a couple more that I really like. This one's pretty easy. Tostitos. Ah, you see it now. Yep, you didn't see it before. Now you're always going to see it. I'm telling you. Same thing with Tostitos. Do you notice the, okay, you got the TOS and then you got a T, which is like a person. The I has a salsa bowl on top of it for the dot of the I. And the other T is another person. And in between them, they have a chip that they're going to dip in the sauce. You see it? So it's actually two people and the dip with them holding a chip. Another one, once you see it, you'll never unsee it. FedEx, Tom, yes, I'm going to show you the FedEx one. FedEx has, here, if you notice, in between the E and the X is the arrow. In the X part of it. You see it? Clever, clever marketing. Really smart logo. You cannot unsee it. Obviously symbolizes reptoid shapeshifters consuming the planet. Ain't that the truth? Oh, another cool one. You guys are familiar with Baskin Robbins? How many flavors does Baskin Robbins have? Do you know? The answer is right in their logo. Does anybody know what it is? I'll show you it, but I just want to see if anybody knows what it is. Nobody knows? Here, take a look. That's the logo for Baskin Robbins. What do you see right in the middle in pink? That's the number of flavors at Baskin Robbins. See it? 31. Whole bunch of hidden messages in logos. There was another good one. I don't know about like Starbucks. I can't really show you the Starbucks one. The original one of the Starbucks logo was a mermaid, but she had nothing covering here. So then they had to cut it up to here and show the legs going up this way because it was all open down at the bottom. I haven't been to a Baskin Robbins in like a decade. Yeah, same here. But I just noticed it for the logo. Every time I drive by it now, that's all I see. Let me show you guys a few more. The Toyota one. Do you guys know the Toyota one? You guys are familiar with the Toyota logo, right? That one right there. Did you know Toyota, before they started as a car company, what they specialized in before? The answer really is in their logo, because they always had that logo even before it became the logo for the car. It was supposed to be the logo for something else, and they kept it even after they started making cars. Toyota used to be or created sewing machines, a brand of sewing machine. You can tell that the bottom part there is like the needle, and the T, the one that's going around from left to right, is the string or whatever they put through the needle when you're sewing. The thread, you know? So that's Toyota's logo. It's really a needle and thread. And the reason being because they were a sewing machine company. You could also make out the letters in the whole logo there. You can spell out T, there's a T, O, Y, O, T, A. You can see it all in there. Again, when you guys have time, you guys can check out the logo and you'll see all the letters that are in there. But originally, yeah, they were a sewing machine company. That's what they specialized in before anything to do with cars. So I don't know. I just find all these things like really, really interesting. You guys know the Toblerone chocolate bar? The big long chocolate bar? Toblerone? Did you guys ever see? Here, let me show you. You guys tell me if you see it, okay? So there's another cool one. Check it. That's the Toblerone logo. Do you notice anything besides the fact it's a mountain? Give you guys about 5 more seconds and I'll tell you. If you look above, between, okay, you see where it says Toblerone, right? It has an, yeah, that's right. Kai, you figured it out. It's a bear. If you look above L and E, above that, you'll see in the clear, there's like a bear standing on two legs. Yeah, Tom sees it. There's a bear standing on two legs. Do you guys know why they have a bear there? Any idea? Do they even have any chocolate left in those bars? They've been shrinking them for years. I don't know. I don't really like them too much. The bear is as closely associated with Bern, Switzerland, where the company was originally formed, as well as the Swiss mountains. And the word Bern, which is Bern, is also hidden within Toblerone. Because if you spell out the word Toblerone, you'll have Bern in it. So, again, another one I was just fascinated with. Russian collusion. Let me see if I can find you guys one more. Yeah, that was the Amazon one you were talking about. The arrow goes from A to Z, showing that they sell everything from A to Z, which is pretty cool. Louisiana Swamp. Know what? About the bears liking chocolate? No, they don't. I want to show you guys, I'm going to show you guys one more and then we'll call it a night, okay? Because we're heading up to almost an hour here. And my battery is going to die pretty soon. But I do want to finish you guys off with a really cool one, another one that I enjoyed. It has to do with chicken, a chicken company known as KFC. So here's a logo for KFC. If you notice, it's supposed to be a tie or whatever else around his neck, right? But what you should see here, if you look carefully, you'll see the big head and what looks like a stick figure. The arms like sticking out there and the legs. You see? So big head, stickman legs and arms. Pretty cool, huh? Again, now you'll never see it as like a bow tie or whatever that's supposed to be. You'll see it as a big head, small arms and legs. So that's all that was. All right, let's see what else you guys have to say here, and then we'll call it a night. He was an orphan, Wendy's founder. Oh, that I didn't know that. Corey, bro, you should do more mukbang. Um, did you really like that? Which one? Because I think I only did two. I only did one. I was eating pizza, and the other one I think it was I was reviewing some cookies. Which one did you like? Did you like the pizza one? I can make more. I just didn't think there was such an interest in it, but there was a couple people that said they enjoyed it. Tom says it was only a joke, not necessarily a good one, but just a joke. Which one? Which joke was it, Tom? Louisiana Swamp. Yes, Louisiana. Never saw that. Corey's freaking out. The pizza one. Okay, maybe I'll make some more. But I mean, I don't know. I just found it kind of weird. I'm like talking to you guys while I'm eating. If you guys don't find it rude, maybe I'll do some more of them. Who knows? Uh, Tom says, I know bears don't like chocolate. I know that chocolate is really dangerous for dogs, and grapes are also, but I don't know about bears. Assume they don't. We don't have bears here. Consider yourself lucky. Lately, I've been getting a lot of raccoons coming to the front door. Maybe because I've been feeding them cat food, which I don't know if I should have been doing that, but yeah, maybe I'll take a video of. But the problem is they only come out at night, and this one started coming 2, 3 weeks ago, maybe. So I started feeding them cat food, and then what I did was how have you been doing? Me? I sound like Beetlejuice. Me? So yeah, it's been about 2 or 3 weeks, and he was pretty fat. So I was thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not a he, maybe it's a she, and maybe she's pregnant. So what I did was I always put out cat food every night, but then I started the vanilla Oreos. They have the chocolate ones, but they also have the vanilla ones now. I bought a bunch of those, and I just figured, you know what? I'm gonna try to feed her with my hands. So I put like half the cookie. I broke the cookie in half, put it like this, went to the door, opened the door. She was gonna come in, but anyway, I put my hand out like this, and she got up on her on her two legs, the hind legs, and just grabbed the cookie gently from my fingers, and then went away from maybe 3 feet from me, and she just sat on the porch and started eating. So that was really cute. Then last week, because she came every night she came. One night last week, um, she came, and four little, and I mean little, raccoons came. So yeah, she was pregnant, all right. She was pregnant no more. They came out, four of them, and they were the cutest things. Like, I've never thought of raccoons as like cute animals, but there's one that's like almost blonde, and I'm telling you, if I could take a picture, I would. But they're gonna come out dark because it's so dark. I can't turn the lights on, or they're gonna get scared, take off. But anyway, that's my story about the raccoons. Let me read you some of your comments here. Nah, you will not catch me messing with raccoons. No pain, no gain, my friend. Don't be scared. They ain't gonna attack you. They're not zombie raccoons, you know. Remember that story from last year? If you guys haven't, check out on Google. Type in zombie raccoons. Then you will really be afraid of raccoons. Edie Krauser, my grandmother had a possum that would come in her house and eat cat food from the bowl in the kitchen. I had also the opossum come, and apparently they are the most cleanliest of the rodents. Did you know that? Because of their long nose and everything, they keep their body very clean, and they're really good at catching mice. So they serve its purpose. But yeah, I didn't know that they eat cat food. But you learn something new every day. The cat food was supposed to be for the raccoons. Here comes Mr. Possum now too. And we also had a groundhog. I remember seeing a groundhog a couple houses down, and then he walked up to the not right up to the porch up here, but just down a bit, maybe 20 feet away from the front door. But I only saw him once. Eddie Krauser, save the raccoon. They make good sausage, or so I've heard. No thanks. I would see him more as a friendly pet. I don't want to cause harm to any animal. Come on, Eddie Krauser. Peace and love. Peace and love. Louisiana swamp, a unicorn. Unicorn? I don't think I'll ever see one of those. Unless I'm like, maybe if I drink too much of that black whiskey or whatever you guys think it is, then I might start maybe hallucinating or dreaming or something. A bear. Yeah, no thanks. I'll just see the one on the Toblerone bar. Good enough for me. All right, guys, gals, everything between. I gotta cut this, man. We're up to over an hour here. Usually I go for like 50, 55 minutes, but I seen a lot of you guys jump on tonight and wanted to chit chat, so I figured stay on an extra 5, 10 minutes, shoot the crap. You know. Corey says one time I saw this monkey get electrocuted and all. I gotta say it was not pretty, but it was funny though. Nah, nah, nah. I wouldn't want to see that. I don't want to see that, Corey. But hey, everybody's got their form of entertainment, I guess. To each their own. You know, you guys went from telling me that you want to see me eat some more pizza or do some more like food videos, and then you guys are telling me about like eating raccoon for like sausages and electrocute monkeys. You guys totally lost my appetite. I ain't making no mukbang videos for you guys. Forget that. Sarcasm. Guys, gals, everything between. I might be back tomorrow night at 11 p.m. As always, I will be making more videos tomorrow. Talk about current events, what's going on out there. Hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. As I always say, peace and love. Stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy. I appreciate each and every one of you. Be good to each other, all right, guys? We only live once. Enjoy life to the fullest. Don't get into silly fights with anybody. It's just not worth it. Life is way too short. You know what I mean? Guys, once again, I love you all. Have a good night, all right? Mavakaga out.